The highly trusted academic source, Wikipedia, states that an existential crisis is an inner conflict characterized by the impression that life lacks meaning and a confusion about one's personal identity. It's no surprise that, in today's super-fast technological zeitgeist, existential dread can manifest itself everywhere we look. Except for one place: our technology. As the devices we use become more technologically advanced, many fear that they are becoming exceedingly good at replicating human emotion. Not me. Today, as the founder of an AI startup company, I'm seeking $10 billion in venture capital. I have one leak code under my belt and a dream to make the first sentient AI existential dread-fearing calculator. Will my startup succeed and make me a billionaire? Or will I just create a useless calculator that fears everything? There's only one way to find out. Let's code it. Welcome, investors, to a sneak peek into the inner workings of CentCalc. Pretend you didn't see that. As a millionaire investor potentially interested in our company, you may be wondering how we plan to create such advanced technology. Well, I'm glad you asked. Our plan to create our revolutionary calculation technology is simple. Number 1, create a calculator. Number 2, add existentialism. And number 3, ship. We don't worry about all that boring customer satisfaction stuff. We simply ship and ask questions later. Step 1 can be easily completed by some simple coding and creating a basic 4-function calculator. I've already coded this, and as you can see, it's simply just primitive. Hold on to your money, investors, because we're about to take this to the next level. How do I plan to add existentialism? It boils down to 3 components: news, stocks, and overworking. Firstly, it's going to read news headlines about technology. To do this, we use the News API from newsapi.org to generate 20 headlines of articles, as you can see. These articles are not very useful to our calculator at this moment. We, as humans, can see them and instantly create ideas about if they are positive or negative, but our simple little calculator struggles with such monumental tasks. Until now. If we just generate a sentiment score around the headline of an article, we can determine if that article is going to be generally positive or negative in its tone about technology. To generate sentiment analysis for articles, we can employ a concept called tokenization. Tokenization is the breaking up of a sentence into smaller tokens to make human speak more machine-friendly. Your favorite language models all employ tokenization at a much more complex level to generate responses to all your queries. For us, we plan to implement a very simple version of this idea. If we create a token list with both good and bad words and map those tokens to positive or negative values, we can see if headlines are generally positive or negative. For example, if a headline reads, "New AI fails basic tests, rollbacks and bankruptcy follows," our calculator can pull out words like fails, rollbacks, and bankruptcy to generate a sentiment score. Of course, this method does come with certain drawbacks like biases for certain words, but with the direct language of headlines of news articles, it should work pretty well. Let's work on a basic implementation of this tokenization.
Okay, 3, 2, 1, let's jam.
So, our calculator now has the ability to quote-unquote read the news. If that news is negative, our calc buddy will begin to feel down about his future in the AI landscape, and his existential score will be decreased. That was a success. Now onto my second idea for existentialism: stock prices. As humans, it's easy to fear that AI will take over our role in society. For an advanced AI like our calculator, these feelings should be mutual. As AI-related stocks trend downwards, our AI's dread should be trending upwards. To implement this, we are going to use AlphaVantage's stock analyzation API to find out the daily change of a stock. If that price change is negative, our AI will become extremely worried about the human takeover, and his dread will increase. Let's get to work on that.
Okay, 3, 2, 1, let's jam.
Yet another resounding success. I know you're itching to throw your billions of dollars at me, but wait, there's more. The last way I want to calculate existential score for our calculator is to implement career burnout. If the user is overworking the calculator, I want it to begin to panic and lose sanity. We can do this by checking the last time the user tried to find the answer to an equation and finding the difference between that and the current time. If a user tries to solve a new equation within 5 seconds of their last, our calculator loses 10 sanity immediately and tells the user it's tired of the constant work. With these 3 dread factors, we are ready to display our calculator to the user. I wanted to have a clever way to display the current existential score for the user, so I began to work on a quote-unquote will to live bar, which displays said score. For this project, I am using React, a web building framework. Without diving too much into React, it is a JavaScript-based modernized page builder. Through using what are called components, we can build interactive web pages that are suitable for a modern user. Everything you see on screen is a component, and instead of being re-rendered as a page like plain HTML, everything is re-rendered at a component level. This allows for high flexibility and optimization, as well as customization for very large and interactive web pages. If you want to learn more, I will link an article that explains it much better than I ever could. Because I am using React, I can use what is called a component library. Libraries provide many pre-made components, which will save us time and headaches that would have resulted from creating custom components. I am using Material UI, or as I like to call it, MUI, which already gives us a linear progress bar to display our will to live. Our will bar starts full, and as the user interacts with our highly advanced AI, it will slowly decrease to 0. Through the various dread factors, we will subtract the constant score from our existentialism, and the bar is a visual way to let the user know. In addition to the will bar, there should be a way for the user to know how they are punishing their calculator. I want the user to feel kind of guilty every time they run it, so to do that, we need to show them what they're doing wrong. I added a list below the bar which displays all the negative things the calculator is going through. Every time the user wants to run an equation, they will be met with the guilt of their various treasons against our little buddy. This is both a way to show our advanced AI and to discourage user overuse, leading to more costs on our end. So, what will happen if the dread score bottoms out? Well, if this happens, our calculator will cease its programming. I began work on death.jsx. Great naming, I know. And this will be the death screen for our calculator. I wanted to have some drama upon its death, so I recorded myself reciting some altered Shakespeare and played Claire de Lune in the background. I also added some text to make it seem like a memorial for a lost friend, and added the calculator's final words to the screen. This should thoroughly dissuade the user from overworking the calculator to its doom. I was thinking I should end here, but I didn't feel a human connection to my calculator yet. You could run the dread score to 0 and just refresh the page, getting a new calculator. It didn't feel real enough. After talking with my friend about the idea, he suggested adding a way to increase the dread score through certain measures. Of course, we could just add a button that allows us to increase it, but, well, that is exactly what I did. A button will randomly spawn every 1 to 5 seconds in a random place on the page, and the user must press the button within a second to increase the score. The button has various positive, soothing phrases, and the calculator will enjoy being praised by its user. This is actually pretty fun because it's almost like playing target practice, but you're trying to save your calculator's life. Let's just quickly see what the final product looks like in full. Take it away, me.
So, welcome to the final program here. Don't mind the errors in the right, those aren't important. Over 2. Oh, shoot. So the IBM stock's down $3.
To calculate or not to calculate? That is the question. Whether 'tis nobler in the code to suffer the ones and zeros of outrageous humans, or to take arms against a sea of numbers, and by opposing, compute them. To rest, to cease, no more. And by a calculation to do, we end the running and the 1,000 user inputs that binary is heir to. 'Tis a calculation, devoutly to be done. To rest, to cease, perchance to dream. Aye, there's the rub. For in that sleep of death what AI may come, when I have shuffled off this binary coil. Thus with a dis, I die. Now, with all of our additions, our calculator can truly experience the human condition in its rawest, most unfiltered form. It is not just a calculator. It is the most advanced technology ever since the bread slicer. Investors, I am seeking $10 billion. Drop a like to invest $1 million, and I will let you into the exclusive early access pre-run alpha beta version of the calculator. You miss 100% of the shots you don't take, so take one of the shots today. Make sure to drop that like, drop a subscription for more great ideas like this in the future, and I'll see you next time when we create a washing machine intent to take over the world.